Here we are.
Hello.
It's gonna start. It just starts fading in. I was like, I never worked this stuff.
Technology.
Okay. Hey.
Hello.
Now we're actually you can see us. Because I'm not very techy, but okay. I think we're good. So, I guess I'm in the driver's seat this time, which is kind of weird.
Hold on.
That's right. So we have first. Let's crack our beers, maybe, or talk. We'll crack them and talk about them, like we usually do.
Yeah, crack them.
So some of us got ahead of ourselves and already cracked them. So we'll pretend. So this is the much talked about, I guess, partners episode, and we have Pan or Samantha, Ethan's fiance. You got me, lucky you, and then and then we have Mariah, which is Dylan's girlfriend, and then Shannon, which is Nick's fiance. So they are not witnesses ever. And first, I guess we'll talk about beers like we talked about that we would do. Except, I don't know, Pan's yours kind of well-known and boring.
There's no laws when you're drinking White Claw.
Yes, let's go.
I have the Nut Goody Porter from Tin Whiskers. I'm also really interested in the. Oh wait, no, you'll talk about.
Yes,
it.
I will.
Okay, so I don't know if it's any good though.
Sounds good.
Ugh.
Dark and heavy, and
I'm not sure what I think yet. Okay, so then Mariah, what do you have?
I had the pumpkin head from Shipyard, and it actually tastes just like a pumpkin pie.
Oh
it
my
kind of
God.
tastes like a frappuccino with a little pumpkin spice, but cold. Oh gosh,
Shit,
it's good. It's really good.
I should
I
choose
want
that
to.
one. That's next up, I guess.
Yeah, you will start chugging it because I'm like, can I keep drinking then?
Yes. Yes, keep going.
There we go.
All right,
I'm
Shannon.
a weenie. I don't drink beer because I don't like it. So I have my
That's okay.
zero Rockstar.
Ooh,
fruit
she's a
punch.
rock star.
Girl, work it.
So, Ken and I guess, put a list together and got some input from Shannon and Mariah as well. But what to talk about? So, I don't know if we really we didn't have much of a sequence to
No,
this.
not
I
really.
don't think. We're just kind of winging this. We figure it's be kind of interview style plus just talking. So conversation. We'll see how off the rails we get since Tyler, myself, and Ethan usually go off the rails pretty good amount. We'll see if it continues with this. So I guess maybe how you met. Maybe that would be a place to
Jump off
start.
from?
Yeah, I think that's a good place so we can just go around the table. I don't know. I'm just kind of facilitating. So whoever wants to go first.
I can go first. I met Dylan and I actually went to high school together, but he was that weird kid in high school because he was a Jehovah's Witness, and I was like,
He was
yes.
weird.
Yes, he was. He is still. There's some screws loose, I think. I think it was because he still is. So I never talked to him in high school, and then I went to college and he Snapchatted me chugging a beer, and I'm like, this kid drinks, come on. And then he wouldn't stop Snapchatting me, and then he's like, let's hang out in the summer, and I'm like, okay. And then he said, well, we can't date, but let's have fun. And I go, why? I don't get this. It was very interesting, but that's kind of how we met. And we can kind of go into that too, because it kind of goes uphill, maybe downhill from there. I don't know. Getting
different
more
directions.
all actually you believe in that? Actually, wait, what? So that was kind of how we met.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess you're up, Shannon.
I guess. So we met on a dating site. I can't even remember which one. It was a really bad one. I actually don't recommend using it at all.
Tell.
No,
Love
it's
was
just
in the making. Come on.
yeah. No, I honestly don't remember what it was called, but it was just its platform or its setup was just awful.
Oh.
But we met on there, chatted a lot, texting, and then he told me on our first date that he was an ex-Jehovah's Witness. So, and I guess at that point I really didn't. I knew that they went door to door and they didn't do holidays. That was about the extent of my knowledge.
Oh boy.
So yeah, yes,
It's
yes,
my time, boy.
yes, my mind has since then. So, but yeah,
Okay.
Oh,
you
shoot,
can.
it's me.
Your turn.
You're up.
We met on Tinder.
Ooh,
I had
spicy.
just moved down here for college. I was, using the Tinder.
Mhm.
And I didn't know he was a J-Dub until we actually started dating. So I met him like November. We didn't start dating until the following May. So it took till about that point. He's like, by the way, before you decide, this is my situation. He was out trying to get kind of back in. And
Mhm.
I was like, well, shit, I'm not doing nothing. So
Sure, let's do
try
it.
it out.
Let's get on that crazy
So-
train.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. I have dated non-witnesses. So, and being an extra witness, I usually told people fairly close to the beginning, almost right away, just because it's just easier.
Was it like the first time you met, or like was it
Usually,
on the date, or
usually just in messaging before I would meet them.
you're like,
They would
hey,
know.
by the way, I hope did they? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Especially in my last serious relationship that lasted like, I don't know, 4.5, 5 years, that they didn't know much about Jehovah's Witnesses. And I remember I was still kind of mentally in a little bit, but physically out. And so trying to navigate what that meant at that time was interesting, and brought him along for the ride, I guess.
Yeah.
So, and I guess when he found out, he told me that he figured that shouldn't be a good enough reason to not date someone. So
Yeah.
he gave it a shot. So, hey, good sound effect.
Yeah, girl. Here we go.
Okay, so let's see. I would say, what was your first impression of the religion cult and struggles? So maybe, or first exposure, that kind of, I guess, meals were kind of hand in hand. I don't know, first impression or first exposure. Maybe whichever came first. Exposure or I guess it's, well, hold on. It kind of works together. Yeah.
I feel like we had impressions and then we got exposed to it in some fashion or another.
That's true. That's true. Okay, we're going with that.
Okay.
Round the table we go.
Dang. I'm gonna go second because I don't know how to answer this.
Or if you need time to think, I don't know. We can.
I can start.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess first up, it was just really his Nick's informing me, telling me of his, his childhood and, just things about the cult, as I always refer to it. I have never gone to a meeting or anything like that. I've seen some. He was contemplating getting reinstated, so he was during COVID on the Zoom meetings. I listened to some of those. I've seen some on YouTube and what have you. But just everything was just shocking to me. I feel like there's a lot of contradicting themselves and just twisting everything to make it fit how they want it. And I don't know, it kind of, baffles me how people believe in all of it. But I guess if you don't know anything different, I've never been in it, so I don't know. But yeah, it's all just been very shocking. And I feel like I've been told so much, and yet there's still things like he'll bring up randomly, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I thought I knew everything, and there's more. So
yeah, because you all are with the ones that were born in. Yeah, I think because Dylan was born in. I think, or
he
mostly
was like 5 or 6.
Oh,
it was
that's right.
later. He was a little later.
So majority of his
Yeah,
childhood.
yeah.
Okay, and then Nick, I think, was born.
pretty much, I mean,
Into it?
or very young.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Ethan was born
was.
for sure.
Yeah.
He's several generations deep in it
Yes.
because I know
Oh
Ethan's
my
family.
gosh.
Yeah.
So, okay, and then yeah, I mean, I was technically born in. My parents started when I started getting serious about studying. My mom did when I was about 2, so close
Pretty-
enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then left it like, how old was I? 31,
Wow.
something like that. So,
That's crazy.
okay.
Yes,
Back to
I think
you.
I got a good one. So like back then, I was like, okay, sure, you're a witness. Awesome. Well, I'm a Christian. Cool. And my grandparents were like Catholic, so like we mixed religions. It didn't matter. We still like loved each other. Did whatever. And Dylan kind of looks at me. He goes, "Okay, you know what you're getting into." But we didn't start dating for like 2 years just because of this. My little exposure was like we're riding in the car in Blue Earth, and it's like all the witness people are driving around too, and he saw somebody, and he told me to duck in the car, and I go,
Way.
and I go, what? And then he's like, just duck, just please. And I'm like, okay. So I like duck down. I'm like, oh, okay, because like if my parents knew if I was driving around with a boy, they would like freak out. So I was like, okay, whatever. But then I was living in the cities, and we went to a Timberwolves game, and right behind him was like all of Dylan's like witness friends. And I go, no, wait. He turns to me and he goes, "You're my cousin." And I go, "What?" And then I looked at him like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, what? And then all the witness friends were like, oh, who is he? Like, who's she? And then he's like, "My cousin." And I go, "Oh, did you just call me your cousin?" And then he just left with like some other like the witness friends. And then they look at me and started like drilling me. And I'm like, am I supposed to play this off? I don't want to get in trouble. Because I know how serious this is. I'm like, yeah, like a distant cousin and whatever. And then
From Alaska.
and I'm like, and then he's like talking to all the people. I'm just sitting watching the game. I'm like, this is just the most boring game ever. And then I'm trying to hear. And then I didn't realize how serious it was because people like were drilling me. And Dylan was like still trying to hide me. And I couldn't grasp that. And then we hopped in the Uber and all the guys were like, "She's not your cousin." And I was like,
no.
and then Dylan like turned white. He's like, "Oh my gosh, my mom's gonna find out." I'm like, "Dylan, what is the big deal? Who cares?" It's like been 2 years. And that's like when I got a full like in my face exposure of how like what witnesses actually are. And I was like, no.
How
freaking-
cultish it is.
Yes. I was like, why? Like, who cares? And they're like, you have to care.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I'm not out yet. I don't want to be disfellowshipped. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Like, who cares? And he's like, it matters. And then that's when we really dove into it. And I'm like, interesting. So that was my full exposure. I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I remember going my ex-boyfriend, and I was like, people still thought I was still kind of in a little bit, but I was out. But I remember our first public thing was a Twins game. I remember looking around going, oh, I wonder if anyone's going to see me.
Yeah.
I didn't see me. I mean, I was still married at the time, but we were separated. And we were not getting back together.
Yeah, you're like, no, not
I kept
doing
thinking,
that.
I don't know if I want to deal with this yet.
No,
And being paranoid. I remember those beginning feelings of when you're out and then you decide to be with someone that's not a witness anymore. And yeah, the major anxiety that can cause till you fully accept it. And yeah.
Just don't know like the psychology behind it and how like it actually affects you. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. I'm getting it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Pan,
you.
what about you? Lay it on us.
Well, my first impression of J-Dubs is just, I think, pretty common to everyone else. Like, oh, it's just those weird people that drop, pamphlets off at your house and don't answer the door and they're going to come back kind of thing. So I think when Ethan told me, I was like, all right, cool. Like, whatever. I didn't know any of the crazy cult practices of it. I'm like, oh, he's just out trying to get back in, whatever. Like, I knew some Mormon kids growing up in high school, so I kind of understood the disfellowship being kind of thing. But I didn't realize the extent of it. And then he brought me to a couple of meetings.
Which I'm quite certain I saw you at least once at a meeting. I'm quite certain.
And man, oh man, I stuck out like a sore thumb. It was really weird.
Oh,
And it was weirder to have everyone talk to me and not talk to him.
We have some intruders here.
okay.
How
okay.
dare you?
You gotta leave the whiskey. Dare you?
We had some boys come in and disrupt us.
Yeah. Bye.
Boys out, girls club.
Yes. Girls Club.
Yes.
Anyway.
that?
So
Yeah.
you went to some meetings. I'm quite certain I saw you
Probably.
at least once. Anyway, proceed.
I don't remember my train of thought anymore.
I do remember that Ethan has mentioned that that's kind of what woke him up a little bit, is bringing you to a meeting and
Yes.
seeing how your reaction to it.
because the whole time
You're
I'm
like,
going,
this is
"What the fuck?"
bonkers.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I like look at him and I'm just like, and they're reading these like, passages and shit and all these songs. And I'm just like, the weirdest is going to Memorial and some of those songs. I'm just like,
Ooh.
what in the
Okay, were you ever at one of the meetings and they were like passing, is it like the bread or like the what or something
Oh,
like
So
that?
it's Memorial.
That's
yeah.
Memorial.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
and like
Did
I
you
do
take
communion.
it?
I I reach for it because I do communion.
Yep,
I'm
yep.
like, I'm gonna be like no one
Yep.
else is taking it.
No,
I'm
no.
like, oh, interesting. Dylan like slaps my hand. Get your hand off that. And I go, what? Like,
You
and
should,
then
like,
everyone was
anoint it
staring
or
at me and they're
whatever.
like, and I go, what? And then he's
That
like,
was
just
super bad.
put your head down. And I go, okay, I'm done.
Oh, I have a story related to that.
Oh yeah, do it. Oh gosh.
So the first time I went to Memorial, Ethan's explained it to me, and I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of like Easter, okay? Like it's Easter,
yeah,
right? Cool. This is gonna be fine. You dress up, it's pretty, cool, whatever." He's like, "No, they're gonna pass you like the crackers or bread, and then the wine. Do not touch them. Pass them." I'm like, "But I want wine. Pass it."
Yeah,
Like,
like,
okay.
my wine.
So we get there again. Everyone's looking at me. "Oh, hi. How are you? How is Ethan?" He's literally right here next to me. They won't talk to him. They won't even make
What?
eye contact with him. And his mom is just like holding my hand, like crying, going, "Oh, I'm glad you guys are okay," and all this stuff. We're
Yeah.
probably less than a year into dating. We sit by his grandparents,
Mhm.
like super into it, crazy.
Which I know very well, his
Yeah.
grandparents. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm like, okay. And then she's like, "Oh, let us know if you want to do Bible study. Just let us know."
Oh.
Okay. And then we're sitting there and they're passing me all this stuff. I was like, this is crazy.
Oh yeah.
What is happening right now?
Dylan's
What is
grandmother.
happening?
She's
I just felt
she's
so
a
bad.
she's a blessing. Okay, I don't know. Was it for you too? And you haven't gone to a meeting, right?
I have
No.
not.
There was a line of people to talk to me. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
felt super popular, but then his grandma was like this close to my face,
Oh gosh.
and she goes, "We need to talk in the bathroom." And then I'm like, "Okay." So she pins me in the bathroom and just drills into me of like, "You're putting Dylan in the wrong path. Who do you think you are?" And I get like scared. And then Dylan's like,
Wow.
"Aunt, sweet." Like she's so sweet. She goes, "Okay, Mom, I think you just need to leave her alone." And then I come out and I'm like, "Don't give me go." Like I'm so scared. Like that was like terrifying.
Oh my gosh.
But other than that, like, but everyone was so sweet. So I understand.
Mhm, mhm.
I get it.
Love bombing you.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I'm
Like,
like, I
hurt
felt so
you.
popular. I was like, okay.
Oh, I hated it. I would like put my blinders up and like not really look. And the first time I met Ethan's dad, I walked straight past him and he was calling my name. He was calling Pan. Calling Pan in the kingdom. I'm like, Pan. And I'm like, huh?
Who?
He's like,
Huh?
"Your dad's calling you." I'm like,
What?
"Oh, hi."
Hi.
We have nothing to talk about
Yeah.
because like, hi, normal person here.
Yeah.
You're
We're just-
in this weird cult and you're an elder. So
Yeah, it was kind of scary. But it was actually like, oh, I
but no
get
one ever
it.
pinned me.
Yeah.
Thank God.
No.
That's scary.
But I guess if you met Dylan's grandma, she's just she cares a lot.
And she's very straightforward.
Yes. And
Ethan's
I'm
family's
just
very
not
passive.
very used to that. So she was very straightforward and like wanted to talk to me. And I go, I get it.
Mhm.
I don't know if she could hear me though, but that's okay.
And so, but my ex-boyfriend, he met my parents on the farm. I remember my mom was like super standoffish at first, like ignored him, just like my dad like was a little bit nicer, said hi, but like he never went to a meeting, so I never got that first impression kind of thing. But I did have kind of higher up elders, so like circuit overseer and stuff, corner me at the farm trying to convince me to break up with that boyfriend and go back to my husband, and and I was like, no.
I'm gonna pass on that.
Hell no. So there's my little tidbit for that, I guess. Did we cover everyone? First impressions, first exposure? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I don't know. Do we go to struggles? Hold on. How about maybe maybe it was touched on a little bit, it seems like, but maybe some unique challenges or was most shocking or some of the struggles. I guess maybe these kind of tie together a little bit. When dealing with this whole situation. So something kind of like pops in your mind that was like something that's traumatizing, challenging, shocking, like, whoa. I mean, it seems like it's been touched on a little bit, like I mentioned, but maybe there's something more you're thinking of, something else that's popped into your mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you think of anything, feel free to speak up.
You want to go? I know we were like
Yeah.
bantering over here, so I want to get in this
Yeah.
conversation.
No, the only people I met from Nick's Jehovah's Witness side, besides his ex-wife, because I have to see her because of the kids, but was his mom and stepdad, and they were really nice to me. They spoke to him a little bit at the beginning. I think kind of because he was, they were trying to get him to get reinstated. Yeah. And it was touch and go with his mom. But she did ask me to go to lunch with her, and he was not invited. But yeah, she wanted, and then at that lunch, she was like, "Oh, you need to meet, his brother and his wife." And, she wanted to include me in a lot of things to kind of feel like to try to draw me in. But since there's been some harsh moments where he's pretty much just, accepted that he's not going to try to speak to his family unless they decide to be human and care.
Now, I have a question. Are they invited to the weddings?
We do intend to send them an invitation. Yes, I don't know if
How
they
that will
will
go.
come. Yeah. But yes, I believe that he intends to send at least his mom and stepdad an invitation.
Do you think they'll come?
I don't.
Okay.
Oh,
I was just asking about that question. Yeah.
Ethan's parents, no. I don't know if he's mentioned.
I know
on
we
the
caught. Yeah, we
podcast
did.
yet.
We did in the last
So
episode.
he cut them off.
Oh, okay.
He ended it finally. Like, he's disfellowship, so they don't talk to him technically
Okay.
anyway. But
Okay.
they do reach out now and again, and it's always directly to him. They don't really talk to me anymore.
Mhm.
But he's tired of it. He's
Yeah.
just closing that chapter, and he's done.
Done,
He's washing
yeah.
them of it. Anyone that's still in is done. So they know. He wrote them a letter and dropped it off, and he let them know when we're getting married and where. So if they want to show up, great. We'll make arrangements. But you're not getting an invite. You're not invited. We're not going to expect you there,
Right.
kind of thing.
Right.
Which I kind of figured would happen. I was always going to invite them, no matter the situation. But since he decided to just
I guess
cut them
Nick did
off,
say that. He's like, we'll invite them, but we're not going to
Expect them.
plan anything around
Mhm.
them. Like,
Mhm. Part of me was like hoping that would like wake them up and be like,
Oh my gosh.
my son's getting married. He's
Yeah.
he's been happy for this long. Maybe we should,
Mhm.
go at least be part of it.
I guess there was one kind of shocking one too with his fairly early into our dating. Nick had to go to the hospital, and he texted his mom that he was in the hospital,
Mhm.
and nothing, no response at all.
Ethan's parents have always been pretty receptive about that. Luckily.
Yeah, it just shocked me.
Yeah, that's bad.
That's not good.
Yeah, they were. His dad came over when Ethan broke his knee. His dad came over the next day he made up an excuse. He brought a bunch of crap for us.
Oh,
This is
gosh.
yours. So he had a reason to come over
Yep,
here if
right.
anyone asked, but it was
Right.
to see him because he broke his knee.
Yeah.
Like,
What?
something happened to your child. Yeah, you're gonna go see him.
Mhm.
So that's sad to hear.
Yeah, I know Ethan has discussed some of the happenings of this year, all different kind of trials and how his parents reacted to it in previous episodes. So I'll let him speak for those things. Yeah, he does go into some of it throughout the different episodes we've had.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did you touch anything?
Well, yeah. Oh,
trying to keep
gosh.
track of like where this is
So,
going.
I think the big thing is for me, Dylan was always lying or dodging people. So he would get that chronic, I'm just gonna lie to you, and just like not. It was like for no reason. And I'm like, I'm not gonna judge you if you want to go do this, that. Like,
Still not.
I support whatever you do. Just make sure you're not hurting me, and
Mhm.
you were hurting me by lying to me.
Mhm.
And that was like really hard. And then he'll like catch himself. He's like, I don't know why I did that. It's just like he wanted to do the things he wanted in like his whole life. It was like, you're chronically lying about it. Like, don't do that. And then when his mom found out about us, which she saw me like running out of his car. So somebody from the Kingdom Hall saw him, and then they like called him and they're like, so who's this girl? So then she's known me for like probably 5 years, met her once, and then I'll like text her or I'll call. She called me one time, but like I don't have siblings. I added her. I had one of her siblings on Instagram and she followed me back. I was like, no way. And this was like literally like a week ago. And and I started like stalking this page, like, oh my gosh, Dylan, your sister looks just like you. This is so weird. And he's like, oh my gosh, she has like a different haircut. Who is she? And I'm like, oh, she's fine. Don't be so hard on her. But I'm a huge family person. Like every time someone sneezes, we get together. It's ridiculous. So when I couldn't see Dylan's family, I can't get that concept. Mm-hmm. Like I see my family, my extended family, like every month. And I go, what is going on with you guys? Mm-hmm. So I think that's like a huge struggle, especially with his side, because I always wanted that. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what I was signing up for, like, and that side of it. Like that's like the last thing you think about.
Yep.
And you're like, oh my gosh, like I won't hang out with holidays. I won't, we won't go on family vacations because that's what Dylan was always doing with us. Like Dylan's, he'd stay at my parents' house for a whole summer and I wasn't even there. And we're just super close. So, but that's not with his family. And I go, that's just like, I always thought family first and that's not technically valid at some points. And I'm like, okay. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really hard part, especially in that area.
Yeah, it's understandable for sure.
I guess it's been pretty hard difficult with my family. Like my family's been very accepting, but I think it's hard for them to understand some of it because you have to like go into this whole backstory about like, when because he's gone back and forth multiple times about I'm going to get reinstated. I'm not. I'm going to get reinstated. I'm not. And they couldn't quite understand why he kept kind of flip-flopping. And like I said, it's hard. I try to explain it to them, but it's like I said, it's hard unless you get like that whole entire backstory and to really understand.
And even then, it's not always hard to understand because I don't think, unless you're in that situation, it's hard to find the sympathy of it, I guess. Yeah. So luckily, y'all can find each other, all you ex-J-Dubs.
Yeah.
Can relate.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't 100% get it.
No. Yeah. I don't think we ever will fully get it because we were never fully in it. But we can try to grasp and understand and have compassion in that way.
Right.
Like,
always be there.
Yeah. Totally understand that.
Which is appreciated for sure that, you try. And it's nice to us, for us ex-JWs, to have other people in our lives that did not go through it to still be supportive. But it's one of those things, like, it's hard to understand it unless you lived it. It's just one of those things.
Yeah. And like, so we were called worldly people. And I always thought that was the most offensive thing in the whole wide world. And I'm like, what do you, like, I didn't get it. And then they kept calling me a worldly person. Like, I am a person. I am same person who you are. We just have different beliefs, different standings. Like, why am I so different? And then it like hit me. It's like, that is so offensive, actually. Like, don't call me a worldly person. I am here to support you. And if you want to follow this, I get it. But you have to understand my side too. Yep. Don't shut me out just because you're supposed to. Like, open up your head just a teeny bit. But I understand why they couldn't either. Like, I really do understand that side. So.
Yeah. Okay. Anything further to add on that subject? Go once, going twice. Okay. I feel like that new challenges was shocking. Should have been like looking over my notes more than talking, but I would have been listening. So that wouldn't have worked either. So I guess we kind of touched on it a little bit already. So handling the parent relationship with the in-laws, the loss of family. So I think, Shannon, you're the only one in this group that's dealing with like a stepchildren situation.
Yeah.
So you'd have that kind of perspective on, I'm sure it's its own interesting challenge.
Yeah. So Nick, he was gonna be almost 2 when we started dating, and his ex was pregnant with. So we started dating in October, and was born in January. So they basically kind of got pregnant with her right at like when they were
Trying to
struggling, kind of, yeah.
Oh no.
So yeah, and he actually he didn't tell me about right away. He right away told me I have a 3-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was on his I think I saw it on his stepmom's Facebook, because his dad and stepmom they were never witnesses. And they had a picture of like doing the announcement of it, and I saw it before he told me. And I was like, what is this? I wasn't mad about it. And he actually told me fairly soon after, coincidentally. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it hasn't been too bad. It's always been very nice to me. Her family has said hi to me on very minimal occasion when we go to pick up the kids. Yeah. She lets us celebrate holidays and birthdays with them. You know, I think things will get more difficult as they get older. But yeah, we're just we try to separate, like, this is okay at dad's house and this is okay at mom's house. Like, mom doesn't like Halloween, you know? But yeah, we're just trying to expose them to as much as my family and his dad and grandma that aren't in, trying to have them have ties outside of the witnesses and have experiences outside, so that when the time comes that they choose, hopefully they don't make the choice to get baptized and such. But that's one of his biggest fears, is are they gonna stay in and not talk to me?
Gary,
That's the cat.
Pause.
Yeah, Gary the cat.
Gary the cat.
Everyone just freeze.
Oh, funny.
We'll get it back.
Yeah.
Resume.
But yeah, and then I guess actually is getting remarried before we are.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Not uncommon.
Yeah.
My ex-husband did it too.
Yeah, we have known about this other gentleman for maybe a couple months.
Oof.
She's actually been dating him for, I think, at least a year.
That's long for JW.
Yeah, but yeah, they're getting married in December. So that may be a new challenge. We still haven't met him, which is really pissing Nick off. He knows him from a long time ago, like knows of him, and we keep asking, like, we don't know this person, like, he's gonna be around the kids, like, you're gonna get married in like a month, like, we should meet him. Oh yeah, yeah, all right,
Yeah, sure.
So yeah.
Hopefully that step parent does not bring a toxic what's the word I'm looking for? I guess confrontation all the time to you guys, or tries to like take over, because then he would be the man of the house.
Yeah.
And then he could start trying to control you guys through her.
Right.
And I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Because I mean, Nick said that, I mean, a little bit too, but yeah, I mean, they had the agreement that the kids were going to be raised a certain way. So, hopefully she sticks by her word on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll probably be going to court.
That is not uncommon at all.
Yeah.
Especially the older they get, a lot of times the more difficult it gets, because they try to reel them in more and more. So
that's scary.
I hope for your situation, and you just build resilient kids, and there's tricks to that, and hope for the best. So okay. I feel like I had something to add to that. I can't remember. I'll come back. I don't know. Hopefully it triggers in my brain again. Oh, that was good. So my ex-husband, he, my kids met their stepmom. I thought it was at least 3 times. I found out that it looks like it was only once. Very quickly, like at a hotel room, they just kind of like sprung on them. They're kind of like, who are we meeting? What's going on? And then they got married a month after that, I think, after they met. And then
That's like Trump.
he wasn't all that cooperative, all that nice before that. But it got worse. It got a lot worse after that because she's kind of like him, or even like a slightly different kind of. Still trying to figure out like what the deal is. Mm-hmm. I won't like put labels out there, but like, and then I was dealing with both of them, just trying to like attack me and trying to undermine me, and it has not stopped. So all these years, so going over, it's now been over 6 years. I mean, closer to 7 years than 6 years now of dealing with my ex, but then she came in and just tries to like run the show and try to run. They both trying to run me out of town, basically. Yeah. And then they had a kid about a year later, and then another one about 2 years after that. And it was like all within the same month that they got married, like, and they had their kids. Like it was like, it's weird. Like it's all like planned out or something. Everything was in January, and now they're expecting their third.
Oh, what?
Wow. So that one's gonna be a boy, I guess. So 2 girls and a boy.
Wow.
So my ex-husband's gonna have 6 kids. Pretty soon.
Hope they get on the bus.
Yeah, big man.
I gotta say, their kids are adorable. They're super, super cute, and they have a lot of personality. And
Oh, that's good.
And I think it really irks them when their daughters reach out, want to know who I am, and
because their brothers talk about you.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. So I remember one time, my oldest son, I think it was brought over the older sister, the older of the 2, because she wanted to know who I was. And so he like picked her up and brought her over, and that was cute. But yeah, it's always funny when like we used to have school functions.
Yeah.
And they would come around, and their girls were pretty young then, and they still are young, but and just like trying to reach out, or they'd want me to like hold them, and you can see them to like, no,
Like you're not touching.
Oh my gosh. So we'll see how this progresses. It'll be interesting as the years go by, because it's definitely his second family. My youngest is getting close to being 10, and now they kind of have this. And they had this big gap, and now it's like bing, bing, bing. So I'm also kind of hoping that the more kids they have, the more she just like stays out of this. Like,
Too
like
preoccupied.
like you have enough to do.
Yeah,
Take care
please.
of your 3 biological children.
Right.
Thank you.
You got enough on your plate.
I'm doing just fine as a mother. Thank you.
Right.
So anyway, that's my little tangent on that. So and you touched on it a little bit with kind of like, I guess, dealing with like in-law situation.
Yeah, I can touch a little bit more on that. It's interesting because one of Dylan's good friends, his parents talk to me more than Dylan's mom, like all the time, wants to hang out with me, wants to get, go to a winery, just her and I though. So it's very like, I don't know how comfortable I am with that. But like, I'm not afraid, but it's interesting that like his mom doesn't want to reach out more than like Dylan's friends' parents that are witnesses do. They always want to talk to me, and they always are interested about me. Like, text me. I'm like, why can't Dylan's mom do that? So I want to know.
So these are witnesses.
Yeah.
So parents.
So
parents of friends.
Yeah. So Dylan's friends' parents are witnesses. His friend is witness too, which is
They're
fine.
probably trying to love bomb you.
Yes, they probably do. We've like hung out with them before too. Like we went to a bonfire, we just chatted, did talk about witness stuff, which was really refreshing too. Sometimes they just want to pile it on, and it was so much fun. And then she wants to hang out with me too, talk, and I'm like, why can't this just be normal? Like, why can't it be just like this all the time? But I think that like in a way,
It's the same people generally.
Every single time.
Okay.
I don't know.
I see the
feel
ulterior
like
motives to
reading-
it.
reading into
See, I'm not quite
Yeah.
sure, and I feel like when she texts me, I'm like, "What is behind this? What are you trying to do to me?"
Yeah.
But then again, it's like I am not afraid. Like, if you want to bombard me with this, I'm fine. I'm ready. Like, we can talk, but I want to be a civil
They could even be
person.
assigned to you to be trying to convert you.
Oh my
to be quite honest.
Or could it be flipped and they're looking at possibly leaving and maybe they're trying to
He's an elder.
fish out the waters, maybe?
Yeah,
I know it's unlikely.
The guy's an elder.
Like, yeah,
So,
no.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, his like Dylan's friend. I
And
can't
they're
say his
hoping
name.
by bringing you back, like bringing you in.
They
they'll
won't bring Dylan.
Yeah.
I don't want to say the name.
I've seen those.
But-
Yeah, we try to avoid names anyway. So,
Yes. So.
so I based on that situation, I can almost say with 100% certainty. I'm
You're getting
really
groomed.
sorry. You're getting groomed. That never stops.
Trying to break me. Here we go.
Oh my gosh.
It's not zero.
But I
Where?
I am just super intrigued how like the way they word things, and I
And
go,
that's how
what?
cults work.
Yes.
Is they will love bomb you
Yeah.
and think you will think, oh, they're my friends. And then when they got you hooked real good, they flip.
Yeah, and I just don't think they know. Like, I have a huge support system. I would never want to leave that. So,
But they don't understand that.
They don't get it. Yeah.
Especially if they've been around it forever, born in.
Yeah.
They're not gonna completely understand your network and system, and that you're not so easily swayed.
Yeah. Which is interesting. It's like, I wonder why they don't know that.
Because they're
It doesn't process.
and they kind of just have this what's the term? They basically have their blinders on too, and their world is small
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
compared to it's not they're not intelligent or anything like that, but it's purposely kept like their world's kind of just kept in a bubble.
Yeah.
And they're only supposed to really hang out with each other and do things with each other and not expand beyond that, because that's dangerous, because you might wake up
Oh, no.
like Dylan and like Nick
Yeah.
and Ethan.
Yeah.
I feel like Nick's
Yeah.
mom maybe would still text me because she used to text me quite often. Before like he like really broke ties, but he told me at one point when he was like fed up with their behavior, he told me not to respond to her and he told her not to text me anymore. So, but because of how it was before, I feel like if he hadn't done that, she probably would be trying to connect with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's a tricky one because I don't know the whole situation,
Yeah.
but it could kind of go either way. They're trying to like bring you in to bring him back, or
Mhm.
she's just trying to get to know her future
Yeah.
daughter-in-law.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tricky one, but yeah. We haven't asked you yet, have we? No.
Lay it into us.
Hiding in my corner over here.
You're exposed. No
I
hiding
mean,
here.
we don't have a relationship with them anymore.
Mhm.
Initially, when we first started dating, his mom kept trying to reach out to me, but it's very minimal. It was like a couple texts here and there, just trying to get to know me. And then we went on like a walk, and that was about it. We never went out to lunch or anything. We always wanted to go out to lunch, but I'm a bartender. I've been for years, so like my schedule is all over the place. So we never worked that out. But that was it. Just a couple texts here and there. See her at meetings. And that one walk. That was kind of it. And then his dad has never reached out to me directly, ever. Which I never really expected. He's very like, I'm the man. Like, I'm going to let you women do your women things. And
Oh
I'm
my
just gonna,
gosh.
you know.
He's been an elder for a long
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
His dad.
So I don't know his dad very well at all. All I know is from what Ethan has told me, really.
Although
So-
he is kind of more of a moderate elder compared to some others in
Yes.
the family,
Yes. Yes.
since I know the whole family quite well.
That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I know Ethan's parents fairly well, especially his mom.
mhm.
It's just sad because she can be really cool.
Yeah, he tells me all these stories
Mhm.
of her, and I'm like, wow, she sounds like she's really cool, but I don't know her at all.
Yeah.
Really,
Same,
ever.
like, yeah, Nick talks about all his families. Like,
Yeah.
they're really fun
And
to
there's like
hang
those
out with.
moments where they have like normal family relationships outside of all the J-Dub stuff, and that's nice to
Yeah.
hear, but also sad to hear because it's like those little pockets
Mhm.
of like stuff that happened in your childhood, and that's it.
Mhm.
So,
Interesting.
but yeah, they don't reach. I think last time I heard from them was in March, and that was only because I had a miscarriage. That was it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Before that, we moved here. They lived in St. Peter as well.
Hmm.
Never came over, never saw our
Really?
house, never said congrats on buying a house, nothing. So I think they creepily drove by a couple times.
You're like, is that
But
where I know?
other than that, because they knew where we lived.
Mhm.
That was the weird part. Ethan didn't tell them.
They knew.
I think they figured it out. And then they sent
There's
someone from the
ways.
local
Yeah, there's
congregation
ways.
over
Mhm.
too. So that was weird.
Wow, that is like
But they haven't been
private
by
eye.
again. They came by, I think, twice total. Once when we first moved in, and then the guy realized that it was Ethan, and Ethan knew him. And then they dropped off, I think, a memorial invite.
Huh.
And then that was it. They kind of just left us alone. Thank God.
Yeah, like, please.
Yeah, Memorial is kind of the time where all the inactives or the kind of fence like people. It's like they just kind of they all kind of converge their once a year
Make their
thing. Yeah, make their
appearances.
appearance at a Kingdom Hall,
Mhm.
and then everyone hopes that they'll come back
And
and
they don't.
just talks about beforehand to try to
Mhm.
bring the wayward ones back.
Mhm.
So
Oh yeah, I heard that.
mhm. How you should handle them at Memorial and yep, I remember those talks.
Mhm.
I just remember I've been trying to remember what it was that made Nick so mad to like cut his mom off. And he was actually pretty close to getting reinstated. He had been going to the meetings, and he had 2 elders meetings. And then he got a call from them, and they were specifically asking about where he lived. And he found out that they had asked his mom, and she had said that because we were living together,
Mhm.
and she knew that,
Mhm.
and she talked about it. So he's
Mhm.
like, my business is my business. Like, no one's going to talk about me. So it just made me think about that the address, the house thing. So
No, I remember those days. When I moved in with Ethan, it was a big deal. I think shortly after I moved in with him, the elders, they came and visited him for like a private reading or something.
Mhm.
Like they were in the living room, and we had a tiny apartment, and I'm getting ready for work. I'm like, so can I walk past them, or should I be hiding, or
Like, yeah, what am I doing?
what do I do?
Like-
So I like waited around. It was like,
I'm gonna be so late.
I left at the last possible second. I'm like, can I go through the window? Like,
Yeah, like-
he's like, oh, you can walk out. I'm like, I don't want them to talk to me. I don't.
Yeah.
What am I gonna say to them? Hi, like,
What's up?
Bye bye.
I'm kind of like the perfect partner in the situation because I'm uncomfortable in new relationships with like other family members. So I've never had like a good past with meeting my boyfriend's, parents or whatever. It's always uncomfortable and weird. I'm always judged. So the fact that I don't have to force that is great for me.
Yeah, like, this is great.
It's like, I mean, I hate that you don't have parents, but like,
Right.
I don't have
Plus,
in-laws
plus,
to deal with. So
plus, plus, plus.
like his other family's great. I love his uncles. Like they're
Mhm.
amazing. So it's like I don't want to have to force this fake relationship with
Right.
these people.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I'm always just not shy, but I just kind of hide.
Yeah.
So when elders would come about, I'm just like, oh, I'm over here. Hi.
Yeah, like don't make me. I'm like, put your head down.
I stand out. Just don't look
Yeah.
directly at me. It's fine.
We lock eyes. I'm looking away.
Oh god.
Mhm. Yeah, I know that my ex-boyfriend, I had a relationship with his, family. Obviously, we didn't have one with mine, except for my sister who's out. She left before me. But I do remember like how like strange it was. Like his mom would want to do things with just me. It's like we had a relationship, and I did with like his extended family too. So just be able to see kind of maybe what somewhat of normal looks like. I mean, every family is a little different, has their own dynamics, whether they're healthy or not. But like when you come out of this religion and you're trying to figure out what's normal, what's not, like you just I don't know how to explain it very well, but everyone's painted as kind of the same. When you are in it, anyone that's outside of it, you're taught that they act this way and that way and that way, and that's just how everyone is. And when you come out of it, you're trying to figure out what you're like, oh, that's not true.
Yeah, what?
That's not how that works.
Every family's different.
Or not everyone is like some like scandalous, sex crazed
I was
person.
gonna
you
say
know?
they always think that worldly
Mhm.
people are crazy
Yeah, what?
drug addicts, alcoholics. They have
Oh.
orgies. They're just the nastiest spawn of Satan's to exist
Yeah.
ever.
I ended up with a
alright.
fairly traditional guy that I did not realize was so traditional. Went with him because I didn't know anything different, and I didn't know that not everyone is the way that the witnesses say they're going to be. So that was like an interesting, like, whoa, kind of thing too. But like I remember getting to spend with that family like my first Christmas and seeing how like, oh, that's how Christmas works.
Mhm.
And here's your traditions, and like, oh, I don't really have any traditions. And or they did bring me in for that stuff, all the holidays and birthdays, and so that was nice, and just to learn about all that. So I'm glad that you have families that can teach us ex-witnesses how family looks, maybe a little bit, in all different varying ways.
Mhm.
I don't know. Do you have anything else to add on that subject?
No.
Okay. I think we kind of touched on this stuff a little bit. Has anything surprised you overall or specifically? I don't know if we've really touched on this. Is there anything more you can think of? Anything that like really where you're like, you believe what? Or like, this is what you think? This is how you were taught? Or like, I mean, it could just be like everything. But is there anything like really stands out in your memory?
I mean, I think the two witnesses policy about
Yeah.
to actually get someone in trouble, there has to be two witnesses. Which, there's a lot of the, I guess, kind of on the same topic about which I didn't know before, meeting Nick about how they hide the pedophiles and everything. And so it's like in that type of crime, how are there, like, there's not usually a witness to that except for the two people that are in,
Mhm.
the bad person and the victim.
Mhm.
So that still surprises me to this day. I mean, but yeah, I guess that's been one of the biggest, because it was a struggle. I know Nick talked about it when he was on here before, so I'm not bringing anything out of the darkness, but so, that was something that he went through in his past, especially close to the subject.
Yeah, that would make sense.
When I heard that, I wanted to punch a wall. I literally was driving the car, and Dylan, we were the Australian.
Oh, the Australian Royal Commission.
Oh yeah, we heard the whole thing, and I was like,
Wow.
"Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "Oh," and
I listened to parts of it because I could not handle listening to all of it.
I wanted to vomit. I was like, "Is this really what you think? Like, why is this a thing? This cannot be a thing. Like, no, this is all a lie."
I was angry about it. I mean, I was out by then.
Yeah,
It was, but fairly new, I think, because what year was that? It's been a continuing thing for a while.
Yeah, I heard it this
Maybe it's been
summer.
longer than, or been out longer than I thought when that came out. When that started up, the Australian Royal Commission.
I feel like that wasn't.
There was like a show that came out
ago.
because I just heard about it. It came out this summer or something. Like maybe a movie came out about it.
Somebody
documentary
witness. There was that thing we tried to do the watch party for. But I think that was separate from I saw somebody else. Yeah, so there's the Vice one. And I know someone mentioned in a comment on one of the XJW support group things
It was
that it was something out of Australia though. That there was like another 30-minute something. So I don't know if it was something different than that Vice one.
I think it might have been the Vice because it was on. I thought Vice TV was the platform, but I thought it was.
It's like vice
Australian.
versa.
Yeah, I was on that.
I still don't think I've seen that.
Yes, it's
It's a good one.
It was so
Really
good.
good.
That one made me so mad. That's the one. I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like all that stuff was happening or coming out when Ethan was starting to like get into what's the one guy, the British guy?
Oh, Lloyd Evans.
Lloyd
Lloyd Evans. He was getting in deep to like he decided he's out.
Mm-hmm.
And he got into Lloyd Evans like hard, and I feel like that's when all this pedophile
like
stuff started coming out. Yeah, I would say like 4 or 5 years ago.
Because I'm trying to remember if I think I was still living down in this area when that was first coming out.
Me and him had only been dating like maybe 2 or 3 years, I think, when that stuff started.
So maybe it was 2016-ish. I want to say it was around that time. Yeah. And I was like fully waking up too around that time.
Yeah, because I think all that stuff coming to light was making him realize even more that he made the right decision going, this is a cult. This is, I'm not going back. I'm done kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that stuff was really fucked.
I feel like I really thought it's gone. I wish it'd come back as quickly as the last time.
Jot it down.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta remember this.
The most surprising thing for me to learn is just how tight knit the whole religion cult is.
Like everybody knows everybody.
Yes. And like how gossipy it is and just how like widespread it is and how they operate on like pretty much like a governmental level without any of us worldlies knowing it. Like they have all of these big buildings and like lockdown areas in New York and whatnot all over the world, I'm sure too, that we have no idea this is happening and they're making all these big decisions for these millions of people.
It's like almost sad. It's
It's crazy to me.
Yeah, people think it's just this innocent little.
It's like being Christian.
Yeah, it's like naive door knocker things, but it's where people understand things.
Yeah.
But there's this very dark underbelly to it, as I like to, I guess, put it. It seems all shiny on the outside, and you open it, and you're like, "Whoa, holy shit!" You're like
that was that. Like, do I see that? Is that real?
And like I used to think of it too as like I had this mental image of it's like all this dust getting kicked and people are fighting like just like all this like craziness, and then all of a sudden you step out of it and you're like, whoa. You're looking at like that is chaos. And it's just crazy. And you step away and you're like, wow, I can breathe. Like I can breathe. And then I remember thinking, what was the other illustration I had in my mind of how I used to like feel about it? Or also like we were just kind of this mental image of like everyone that's outside of it, just kind of like dirty, dingy, like sinners, and then everyone that's in just seems kind of shiny and clean. And then you're like, oh, you leave it. You're like, you slowly, for me anyway, it's like you slowly start to go, oh, there's a lot of beautiful people out here too. They're not so frumpy and they're not so like oh, like it's not so bad. I remember coming like that realization myself, that I think we all kind of go through some kind of form of that as we leave or wake up. I don't remember what really woke me up to it. I'm not really sure. Can't remember at the moment. So, does that cover the most shocking, surprising thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Look at us being organized.
Yeah. Organized. Like the organization.
Checklist. Check.
I remember there was a movie about the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I can't remember the name of it now, but it portrayed it pretty well. Tyler would remember.
I think Nick watched that one too, but I didn't watch it.
But where it kind of showed what it reminded me of when you were talking about how you were living with Nick, and then how like the elders and stuff or they're checking up on Nick, and how in this movie it was pretty realistic about how they're trying to show like they're not living together, you know.
Yeah, because when he had said that the meetings he was going to were for like if he were living with his cousin in Wisconsin, because he did live with her briefly. So he had her address as his address, and that was the hall that he was attending meetings for. So he didn't use our actual address.
Sneaky.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess at least when I had moved in with my ex-boyfriend, I'd already been out for a couple of years. It was kind of well established, like I'm not into this. At least we didn't get track down for that, really. And plus, we moved to a different town from where, like, maybe if I was still living in my hometown congregation area, maybe they would have been trying to track me down. And but it's like, so okay. Conventions or meetings. So you talked about how you attended some meetings and how you felt. Do you have anything to add to that? Or conventions?
Conventions are freaking weird. I went to one day.
Did you go to the Rochester one?
Yes.
So it's the big one. Okay, so the district convention.
What year
not
did you
December.
go?
I mean, I can probably try and no, I don't even have a picture. I want to say probably like 2016.
We were there at the same time.
Rats.
Okay.
And for some reason, you can let me wear a skin tight dress, which was probably the wrong decision. But I kind of felt like, well, if everyone's gonna look,
Yeah,
I
like,
might as
why
well
not?
look. And I had my red hair at the time, and I just remember we walked in and just like everyone's eyes were just like
Like, oh gosh.
all
what
over.
What are you looking at?
And I was just like, okay. And I was just I think we didn't even go for the full day either. We went after lunch. So we drove to Rochester, got lunch, then went for like 3 hours or something, or whatever hell that was. And it was weird. I think, I don't have the doula anymore. I had like a notebook so I could take notes.
Oh my
He's like, we need
god.
to take notes. We need to act like we're paying attention and stuff. And I just kept writing, are you fucking crazy? And I write down like quotes.
No!
Like, the frick, what does this mean? He's like, you have to stop laughing. Because I was laughing.
What?
You stop laughing. You need to be quiet. Be respectful. Like, shut up. So I'm just like,
What?
I know. See, I feel like I couldn't control my face if I
oh no.
if I was
oh,
in
no.
one in person.
Oh no. Yeah. So we stuck out like sore thumbs because I'm in a skin tight blue dress with red hair.
Oh yeah, you was
Tattoos invisible. All my tattoos were visible.
It's very neutral. That would have been comical.
Oh, yeah. And then
Like, who are you?
I think Ethan had started growing his beard
Oh.
too.
Oh my gosh.
So that made him stand out a lot. And I think we saw
Hey, good
his
for
mom.
you guys. Nice.
We saw his mom and we saw someone else. And I think that was it.
Wasn't me. I wasn't there then.
No. No.
I think my last
So-
convention was 2014.
Yeah, that was never again to be.
Well, Nick might have been there.
Probably. Everyone was freaking there.
Yeah, everyone.
He probably
Everyone.
was.
Yeah. It was nuts. And then there was the pool for the baptisms or whatever.
Oh yes, I've seen
And I was like,
pictures.
What's the pool for? And he's like, they do baptisms like during lunch break or whatever.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
I'm like, what? He's like, oh yeah. And then they like introduced some of the kids that had just gotten baptized. I'm like, they're tiny.
How do you know?
Frick. So
Yeah,
that
I was baptized at a convention.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone watching?
Yeah. They do it during lunch breaks, so not everybody's watching,
Mhm.
but a lot of people do stay in their seat and watch until it's done and then commence with their lunch. So, yeah, it was part of a pretty big group, actually.
Yeah, one of my good friends, her husband, he died. So not really ex-husband, but husband. He was raised a Jehovah's Witness too, and he used to call conventions Hova Hodowns.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Hold down. Here we
Because
go.
everyone goes, to the convention, and they usually stay like in that city. If they're like, or
Yeah.
well-off family, and then they party at night, all the adults. Because J-Dads drink too, they just do it in secret.
I've heard.
So, it's the Hova Hodown.
There's truth to that.
Oh my gosh.
So
I have to tell you my story about my convention. So Dylan was already there and he was with his grandparents, aunt, uncles, everyone was there. And me, like, I want to go. I want to see what's all about. And then Dylan's like, okay, come Sunday. There's like right after lunch. So I go there and I call him. I've never been at this convention center before. And I go, where are you? And like, I'm at the opposite end of the building. And there's nobody in this building. I'm like, this is not the right building. He's like, no, you have to walk up an escalator, down an escalator. So I'm just wandering around this building. And all of a sudden there's like gobs of people and they're all in this break. And I walk through and everyone's looking at me. And I'm like, okay, Dylan, where are you? And he goes, okay, I'm on this side of the building. Just, I'll come find you. Just sit in a chair. Just, and I like text him what chair I was in and then like the section. And then all of a sudden the convention starts. And I'm like, where is this guy? And this guy, this older guy sits right next to me. And this woman's right in front of me. And then I saved a spot for Dylan next to me. Well, Dylan is on the opposite side. He's like, I want you to experience this by yourself. So I'm not, you're not.
Dylan.
Oh, that
Oh
boy.
my gosh.
But it gets better. So I'm sitting there. It was bad. I was sitting there. And this guy next to me, like, we just sat down. And he was talking. He's like, so, like, what kingdom are you from? I'm like, oh, no, like, I'm a Christian. I'm just here to support. He did not hear a word I said. He said, oh, so are you from, like, North Minnesota? Like, where are you from? He did not hear a word. I was talking like, no, I'm a Christian. I'm just
Because they think
here.
they're Christian.
Yes, and I'm like,
Yep.
yes, and I think that's
The
what he
true
meant.
Christian religion.
Yes,
The real.
and I'm like, no, I'm not. But I said, I'm not a witness. Like, I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. And he's like, oh, okay, well, so like, is it more towards like Wisconsin? And I'm like, no, and I was like getting mad because he was not listening to me. So then we get up and then we start singing these songs. And I'm like, this is like a trance. These songs are like scaring me. And I'm like, I'm not singing this anymore. Like, what? And it was like Jonas Arc kind of play acting. And I'm like, oh, cute. And then I was like, oh, that's so cute. And then when it started bawling around me, I'm like, why is everyone crying? This is like adorable. And this woman behind me or in front of me was like crying. She turned up. She goes, and she just kept like, and I'm like, why are you looking at me? Like, I'm texting Dylan, like, I'm so mad. Like, where are you? Why did you leave me alone? I am like so ticked off. He's like, you will be okay. And I go, I'm not okay. Come here. And I can see he's like, I wrote this, and I can see him. He's sitting by himself all the way across here. I can see right here next to this guy. He's like talking my ear off, and I can't handle this. So after the convention, I like storm out. And then, like, two of these other guys come up to me right away. And he's like, oh, is this your first time? I heard this other gentleman was talking to you in the bleachers. And he was saying, like, how nice you were. And you were maybe you're coming into being a witness. I said straight out, no, I'm not. And he's like, well, we have some women here that would love to have, like, a Bible study with you.
I'm sure they
And
would.
I go, but I'm not interested. And then Dylan, I see him at the corner of my eye. He's standing there watching me talk to these two gentlemen. And I'm like, you're not going to come save me? And I keep looking at them. I'm like, help. And he goes, oh, no, I just wanted you to experience it. And I go, it was miserable. And they could not stop talking to me. And it was a young guy too, and like an older guy. And I'm like, what in the world? And I'm like, thank you for your time. But I understand what you're trying to get at, but I'm not interested. I'm just here to support and learn about it, but I'm not interested. So then Dylan comes up, he's like, how was that? And I go, and I was like, I didn't talk to him. I'm like, I'm leaving right now. And he goes, okay, but you're my ride. And I go,
Get an Uber.
and I'm like, honey, grab your suit and let's go. And then he's like, okay, sounds good. I took him up to the hotel. And he was like all excited to talk about it. I'm like, no, I literally, it was like the worst 3 hours of my life. Like, this guy kept talking to me. This woman was crying in front of me. He's like, well, that's just an extreme witness. And this is when like Dylan was fully in. And I go, honey, that's not normal. Like, you can talk to me like a normal person, but at least when I'm talking to you, like, reciprocate what I'm saying.
Right.
Don't like those blinders are on. Like, you can only talk to one kind of person. So that was my experience. I won't go back again.
Wow. Nice.
That did jog a memory for me that when we were at the convention.
Oh yeah.
When, like, it was over, I think, and everyone just turned and was like, "Oh, hi, who are you? We're so and so. We're from this." And I think Ethan had to be like, "I'm just fellowship." They were like,
But how about you?
Like, who are you? It was just like this weird, like, over loving,
It's
like,
love.
attack,
mean,
like.
But it was like so. It was like kind of fake. It's like, okay, at least you couldn't try to mask it a little more. Like, I'm sorry, but I could be right through that sucker.
Yeah,
Like, please don't.
like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I think they don't understand how obvious
It
it is to outsiders.
It was like a script.
'Cause it's
they're reading.
normal.
They're reading
Yeah.
a script to me, and I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
you were literally reading a script to me, and I can pull,
Almost
like,
everything is that way.
and it's just like I can pull that out of a crowd. Like, stop, like, be real with me. Like, I'm not gonna hate you, and you have no right to hate me back with what I'm saying to you. And that's
You're not
what's
supposed to have
frustrating.
your own thoughts.
How dare you? Especially as a woman.
Yeah.
Take care of the children.
I mean, Nick's told me that they have like like comebacks for like everything, like for when going door to door, like they
We have
practice
reasoning
like
from the scriptures.
like
I think
every-
it's still a thing, but yeah.
every response that
subject.
could happen. Yeah.
I rely on that a lot because I was just like, whoa, I've never done well with just like someone saying something to me. And
You're
then
like, hold on.
I'd be like, I have no idea what to say back. It's like,
Okay.
So I tried to learn the reasoning book pretty well, at least so I could go to a subject and be like, here, this is what we're supposed to say, you know?
Oh, that was crazy. But I even did that with Dylan, like, because I went to a Christian college, I work at a Christian school, and I pull up my Bible and I'm like, okay, prove me wrong right here. Let's go. And then he could not, and he was like, but this is what it says on my side. And I'm like, can you just open up your brain just a little more? Let's go a little farther. And I was like, okay, find a website that's at jw.org that's going to support your resourcing. And he goes, oh, that's easy. So he started Googling, and it was always referenced to jw.org and all of that resourcing. Even if it was a different website, it was like, oh, go to jw.org for my resourcing. I'm like, Dylan, that's not not a primary resource. It's coming from one person. Like, that doesn't make sense. And you knew that even going into high school, like any kind of GED or any kind of writing class, that's what you're going to learn from different sources. And he was like, what? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, dude, it's okay.
That's crazy.
Whatever. Like, who are you? Yeah, that's interesting.
I think you should, Shannon, you should try out a convention when they start having them.
Yes, you should. They're so
Just-
much fun.
Just to know what the hell we're talking about.
Oh, gosh.
This is a whole new level of crazy.
Yeah.
I feel like Nick
Do
would
some
do
research for us.
the same thing and like leave me somewhere.
That was too much.
I feel like he would, wouldn't you?
Yeah, thank God that didn't happen. I'm leaving.
I'm like, I just want you to experience.
And you're like, no. I
That's
can
okay.
experience it with you next to me.
Right?
It's fine. And I think that's like you're trying to like I don't want you to influence me. It's like I can have my own thoughts though. That's
Yeah.
the big thing. It's like you're not influencing me. I'm listening to this by myself. Like if you're next to me, it's not like
I understand. Is there any questions you ever had or have about it, like the religion in general? Any questions that like stood out? Or you're like, I don't understand, or but as things have come up, have there been any like big questions for you? I don't know if I'm making sense with the question I'm asking.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
like,
I get that. Think about that.
General, why the fucking why?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's been a lot that I've, asked over the 2 years that we've been together.
I think. Go ahead if you had. A
Oh
question.
no, I can't think of one specific.
I think my biggest question, I don't even know if it's still answered, like, is your faith that weak that you can't talk to other people alone? And like, if your faith is that weak, are you in the right religion? And I feel like that's a huge question. It's like I can have my own beliefs and I can still talk to other kind of religions, and I'm not shaken because I know where I stand. But why is that for witnesses? Why can't they be like on their own 2 feet if they're going to do that?
Because it's a cult.
Yeah.
And then it's not a religion then. It's like a support system, a support cult, Religion is supposed to be for yourself, not for other people. So
Yeah.
It's not supposed to control every aspect of your life.
Like we brought up in other episodes, the bite model so it's kind of never go with words, which we discuss on the podcast. Me and Ethan both kind of think the same in how you and Tyler fill in what we're trying to say as our partners. But the bite model is it just gives all these different points of what a high controller cult group looks like. And Jehovah's Witnesses hit good chunk of them. Good majority of them.
oh boy.
So, and that's something we even brought up in court recently for stuff that I'm dealing with, which I can't discuss a whole lot yet because I'm still waiting on judgments for those. So I think what'll be interesting for you, Shannon, is since you're one of the group that is going to be dealing with kids that are growing up in this, I'm sure you're going to have plenty of what the fuck
Yeah.
moments as it comes in because they're going to have questions. they're going to start seeing the difference. I can see there's going to be a lot of pros and cons to them being so young. And I don't know what the decree says too, or like how things are set up that way. That can make a little bit of difference. We have Tyler, his daughters are older. And so now they've been in it longer.
Right.
And how they think. And I also put myself in their shoes. I remember how I was as a teenager. I was really in it. But now here I am.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, when I left, my kids were younger. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes as things keep progressing. So now I have a high schooler down to still an elementary school age. And again, there's pros and cons. So like all these different ages of when the parent decides to leave. So, I mean, I think it'd be interesting as time goes on, see how that progresses with you.
Yeah. I mean, we think that it's, good that they're so young that we can try to mold them in the outside ways, the non-JW ways, as opposed to trying to pull them away from beliefs that they've, grown up in.
Yeah. I know some of the things we're going to discuss too on the podcast that Tyler and I are kind of doing an offshoot of, has to do more with parenting and dealing with the post-separation abuse kind of thing and how to help children navigate this and the parent that's out. And it's very, very tricky. But I think I'm trying to think how I want to explain that. Because I've talked to others that I try to get advice from others that have had parents. They're now adults, but I had parents that one was in, one was out. And I'm like, because I wish I had a crystal ball. Like how do I handle this the best? Am I doing this the right way, the wrong way? And it's been interesting hearing their feedback on that. Some were like, I wish my non-witness parent had put their foot down more. Some were like, but if they put their foot down too much, then it kind of pushed them like the wrong way. So it's so tricky.
Line.
Right.
So, a lot of communication and just being open with, those children and everyone knowing their roles. And so it seems to me like you'll be the kind of step parent that plays the supportive role and not like, I'm just going to take over. Like I deal with it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I feel like I have a lot of things that I could say, because we do have a group chat between the three of us.
that'd be so hard to like,
I asked for it because I felt like because they would always text, about the kids. And I was like, I feel like I'm like not getting information, like what's going on with the kids. Like you're not telling me. So yeah, I asked for that. But yeah, I really don't say anything. I feel like I could, but I don't.
Use your power.
Right. I feel like, and I know that he's trying to pick his battles. He's going more with the flow and easy going now because he knows that when they get older, it's probably going to be a bigger battle. So I get a little frustrated sometimes with how lenient he is with her. As far as kind of with the scheduling of when we get the kids and such, but yeah, I don't really stick my 2 cents in with her. I mean, I talk to Nick about it, but I don't directly go.
Yeah. That's a good way to handle it for sure. And another thing too was brought up to me about like holidays and stuff with kids that are kind of split situations. I mean, it's gotta be so hard to be flipping back and forth between these 2 worlds. Like I have so much empathy for that with kids. Like it just breaks my heart. And I know that I'm like, my kids are included, with that is that, you have your holiday traditions and stuff and just tell them like, hey, these are our traditions. And they may come to a point where they don't want to participate in it. And sometimes that's really heartbreaking. And but to just like, well, okay, but we're still, Ma or Dad and I are going to have these traditions. These are our traditions. We hope you like participate, but if you don't, still love you. But
right.
that starts to get kind of like, ooh.
Yeah, then they have to make a decision really young, really quick. Like, I have to decide if I do or don't.
And then they might change their mind.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to navigate it too. It's hard.
And that's kind of the big thing that we're trying to push on. And like, we are going to do it for sure. Let them choose and not, make them feel bad about it.
Mhm.
We're just concerned that, or hope that it goes the same on the other side.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm. Well, I wish you two the best on
Thanks.
that. Let's see. So wait, did we get to you? And if you have any questions? I don't think we did.
No, she was why the fuck why?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So that was your answer. That's adequate.
I like that one.
That's a pretty
General
good
to
summary.
I
everything,
think that
right?
needs to be like a bumper sticker right
Right.
Add it to
Why
the
the fuck why?
yeah.
I don't know. That does kind of that makes me want to go get a bumper sticker that has that. And then my kids can complain how I have the word fuck on something in my car.
That to me is a good thing.
Just
And like integrate other stuff too. Like, oh, that's a good thing. Gosh.
Definitely more of like a brash mother, like.
Yeah, didn't they say you have a potty mouth already? Or?
A little bit. What's interesting is we end up going to a family therapist earlier this year who was very Christian, ended up being very like Christian based. So she was just kind of like, she's more middle aged, and like she got it though. Like I'm like, okay, that's what matters. She like sees what's going on, and then to have then good catch. But she also kind of the perspective of kind of more a mainstream Christianity. We're kind of like, oh, that might be kind of good. But then like she's clearly not going to be on board with like the way I naturally am. I'm like, do you understand how much of my life I had to like follow these strict rules? And now I can just be like, I'm me,
Yeah, you can.
and I'm a little like, I'm certain, like, I don't know. If you've seen little kids, you know. So, like, well, I don't get like that around my kids. I should like it's toned down. I'm not so like sweary and stuff. But at least it was nice, like when the therapist was asking, like, do you feel like your mom like yells at you or says swears at you or something? They're like, oh no. They're like, does mom swear? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is she swearing at you? No. I'm like,
they passed it. I am so sorry.
I'm like, I don't have them. Like, but what are they gonna say? I don't know. But they have something to me, Mom, don't swear. And I'm like, trying.
It's so hard.
It's so hard.
Sometimes you gotta
understand.
let those words out because sometimes they're just bubbling. Can't do that. What is that? Oh.
Oh.
No, I want a burger.
You want to eat a burger on camera? I just figured.
Well, we
you
are.
guys-
We're probably. I have like one more question. What is
And
that?
This is burdock root from the yard.
No.
What?
Just give it a try.
Burdock? What is a burdock?
You know, cockaburs.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's
I'm
the
done.
root.
I'm done.
It's the root.
Cockaburs?
You're
those
eating
are no
cockaburs.
fun
Those
in
are
farm
just
life.
brown, like
Those are
sticky.
terrible in farm life.
They're pretty good.
Hey, we're finishing up here.
Yeah.
On,
We're
boys.
almost done. There
Fine.
better be burgers ready to
Stop
go.
invading.
There's some burgers.
Yeah, boys.
I keep saying we need to have a sign up there that says recording. Do
Yes,
not
you
enter.
should.
Stay out.
Well, they know.
Oh, they know.
Because they're aware.
They know what they're doing. Anyway, so moving on from my potty mouth, I guess. So we come down to the last question, or no, actually, kind of like two. They kind of work hand in hand. So is there,
It's like a snake.
Pan is
Looks like a
showing
limb.
a cooked asparagus.
I was gonna say something else.
Thank you.
It looks pretty limp. That's my
Oh, it's
There
sad.
you
It's
go.
sad.
guy.
Oh, geez. More.
Oh God, not
Oh.
Tyler's. What?
I was told you guys were wrapping up and to eat.
Well,
Not done. We're not done.
We're not
We're
done.
trying to wrap up.
God.
We
Y'all
keep getting
keep
interrupted.
Enjoy
Is
the
there-
asparagus.
Okay, is
Well.
there something you're gonna be helping me with?
I mean, just closing stuff down.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
we'll tell you when.
Yeah.
Or just at the end or whatever.
End broadcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So second to last question. Are you are you grateful for anything towards this whole experience of dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses? You can think of that grateful spin on it. Anything at all.
Oh yeah, I'm actually super grateful for it. I think I would have been more closed-minded if I didn't meet a witness or what it was really like. I grew up in a very cookie cutter kind of family, 2 parents, lots of siblings, big family, but I didn't know what it was like outside and what it was really like. Like, oh my gosh. And it challenged me to look at what I actually believe in and actually decide for myself, not because my parents told me to do it and because I went to a certain college or I do certain things. Like, I'm open. Like, I want to know. I love to learn and I'm not going to limit myself. So I have to decide that. And that was like really challenging because I know some of my friends, I talk about it, they have no idea. And they kind of like, well, that makes sense. But it's like, okay, but challenge yourself. Like, tell yourself, okay, nope, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. And then decide. But you can't just look at one thing. You have to look at everything and go like, wow, that's something I want to be a part of. So that's why I'm really grateful for it because I don't think I would have ever done that.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I didn't want to be a witness. I found that.
You narrowed it down.
Yeah, I was like, man.
Check that one off.
Yep.
How about either of you two?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, just being, informed. I didn't know. Like I said at the beginning, all I knew was going door to door, no holidays. That was my extent. So, and again, being, hearing how, I guess oppressed, Nick was growing up, how much his life was controlled. I feel grateful that I wasn't, that I was free to go to school and, be in sports or play an instrument or what have you, if I wanted to. So, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. How about you, Pan? Anything?
Pretty near the same.
Yeah.
Grateful that it gave me the perspective to see the niceties of my life. Because I feel like often we get stuck and going, oh, my life sucks because it's like this. So you see the flip side of a totally different situation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever like go? Sorry, I can interrupt you.
No.
Do you ever go like other people's relationships and like, oh my gosh, he did this? And you're like, oh, we went through so much worse. Can we move on from it?
I try not to do that. I did that probably once. After Ethan, and it was just like because our friend, who's way younger than us, he's 22 now, but I've known him since he was 15. He got a girl pregnant and he was going to propose to her, and I'm like, I swear to God, if this kid gets married before us, I'm going to fucking lose it. I'm going to lose it. And then New Year's came and then Ethan proposed. I mean, they're still married. They got married before us, but it was just like, I'm going to shit in a brick.
Yeah, like I'm down.
Like, I don't really care. I'm pretty easygoing.
Yeah. Like,
I don't have expectations. I try to set my expectations to the ground. So I'm always, satisfied and happy.
Yeah, it's like, wow.
That one thing, I was just like,
I hate you. I hate you. Yes, but sometimes I'm like, oh, wow. I do kind
of look at that, but at the same time,
everyone's situation and stories the same. Like everyone has their own battles and struggles.
Yeah, it's like,
but sometimes I'm like, oh wow, I'm really grateful. I really have to go through that because I had other things to worry about. But like everyone's stories, though, very important. So I don't want to.
I'm grateful for the new family we've created.
Yes.
Everyone around us, because we have a pretty killer gang surrounding us.
Yeah, right.
It just keeps growing, which is great. My house is always in a chaos, but it's nice.
Yeah, love it.
It's nice you let us come over. Okay, so I guess for me, grateful. Well, it has made me stand on my own 2 feet and have more empathy for people. And I've always kind of had an activist kind of mentality, but I never really. I remember I used to even say, like, when I was a teenager, something like, man, if I had like lived during the 60s or something like, or 70s, like I would have been a hippie and I would have been protesting and like doing like
Bras go wild.
I was that type of person, but I wasn't allowed to be like that as a witness. And then as I've kind of like fought and struggled and tried to pull myself out of this shit, like in trying to find your way. I'm grateful for now I can try to give other people a voice and try to help them heal by telling their own stories and, just find our little niche or whatever.
Yeah.
we're not for everyone. That's something I can get that the other podcast. Like I'm realizing like how not squeaky clean I am. I mean, I already know that, but like, and also to be grateful, I don't have to be that way anymore. And so, just getting to find myself and kind of instead of thinking, I wish I could be that way because that's really who I am, but I can't. Now I can be who I want to be.
Yeah.
So it just kind of makes you root for the underdog a little bit more, I feel. So last question. I think we covered grateful. Everyone, what we're grateful. Okay. Is any advice for other partners? So like other people out there that are dealing with their partner as an ex Jehovah's Witness. Is there any advice you would give them on how to handle that situation?
I guess I know, Nick being in it his entire life, I know that he wanted to kind of basically find out who he is as a person. And so, I've just tried to be really supportive of that and let him do and try what he wants. So, I guess that would be for someone that was, with someone who's been in and has just come out, to be supportive of them finding who they are outside of that religion.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
patience.
Mm-hmm.
Because we skipped a lot of stages
Mhm.
in our life
Mhm.
if you've been raised in it. Yeah.
I would say you have to be very patient and very understanding and compassionate because we weren't in this cult the whole life. So we have to look at it like coming down and viewing the whole situation, be like, oh my gosh, that's a lot to process and a lot to internalize, a lot of things that I like most people are not used to. So I have to like be patient in a way where like, okay, that's not normal, but I know why it's not normal. So I can't just be mad about it. I have to just be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. So I like with all witnesses and people that are still or like questioning it, like always, I would say like keep asking the questions and then like the partners be very understanding, but don't like put it all at them at once because they might just shut down. Because that's a big thing too. Like, if you start talking a lot and putting a ton of information in their face, they just like to like, nope, I'm good. So just like little peanut trails. It's like, okay, we got this. You're almost out. You're almost there. But just kind of laying the seed and just like everyone said, just being more supportive and patient.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe giving them little bouts of like our normalcy.
Yes.
Mhm.
I feel helps too. Like you can have a normal, healthy, happy life
Yeah.
outside of all these people that are rejecting you, pulling you back in, rejecting you, pulling you. Like it's possible. It's not going to be these crazy sex hungry
Yeah.
drug
What?
addicts. Like there's
Yeah.
normal people that are going to accept you no matter what. So kind of show them those little
Yeah.
pockets of
Mm-hmm.
normal things that normal humans do
Yeah. Like
outside of it.
pretty much everyone outside is they don't know your backstory. They're
No.
not gonna just say, hey, you're having sex, you're gonna drink with us. It's like, no, like people are gonna be respectful.
Mhm.
Like that's normal people.
Mhm.
So even if you're in like the relationship too and they're trying to come out like same thing, they're gonna be just as supportive. They're not gonna be crazy all over you.
Mm-hmm.
That's my take.
And then a saying I hate because it sounds slightly religious, but it's not. Give each other grace.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's a huge thing.
Give yourself that room because you'll need it.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I think for someone who left and I felt would have been like helpful in a partner too is it's the patience and to try to understand that you have skipped stages in life and it kind of depends like how long they've been out or what stage they're in of leaving. That can make a really big difference because maybe they haven't had time to explore. They haven't had time to figure themselves out before they're with you. And that can be very tricky. So then sometimes the relationship ends because of that. But I think it's always nice to also experience like the unconditional love because that's not something you get. So
I think that was a hard process for me too. Like what is conditional and unconditional? Because like Dylan would try to explain to me, it's a conditional. And I go, I don't understand that. It's always unconditional. Like you mess up, you screw up, I'm still there for you. I love you. It doesn't matter. We grow from it. We're always going to care about you and love you no matter what. And I think that's crazy to think that. And like how that hurts. So I think that's crazy.
yeah. So
What else? I would love more questions. Like, okay, so somebody say they're coming out and they're dating a well-to-do person. What else would help? Because I think it's interesting. So sometimes like I will talk to a witness coming up to my door and I don't shut them out. I'd be like, I would love to talk to you. And then they're like, oh, wait, what? Like, leave me alone. But it's always curious to me, like how to guide those or not even guide.
That's a tough question because you're just kind of taught to shut down.
Yeah.
Like if anyone brings up something that's supposed to make you think, not supposed to think. So, or a lot of the kind of what they do now is, just refer back to jw.org.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just, you stop it and refer back to that. So I wish I had advice for that, but I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that would have changed me other than like I just also was like I hate this life.
Yeah.
This doesn't make sense. Now like for Tyler it was more logical. It was more like he looked at the facts and like this stuff doesn't add up just historically. Like all the history stuff doesn't add up. To me that was something that helped me later. But I don't really remember what it was for Ethan, but kind of woke him up completely. But I think everyone's a little different.
Of a bunch of stuff.
But for me, it's like, I can't keep living like this. I just can't. My life is fucking miserable. And so, yeah, I think just be there.
Okay.
Just be available. And maybe you can get them to go out to coffee with you or something, you know, like if it's a coworker or something, like maybe, even though you're supposed to just kind of put a stop to that. But I guess just make yourself available if they really decide to leave because they're going to need support because you will be losing like everyone.
Yeah.
You will. So that's a big, or even just show them normal when you get a chance. Be like, we're not all these crazy satanic people on the outside, you know, 'cause that's kind of what you're taught. You're just like, well, so if you can kind of show them normal, maybe. I wish I had better advice and
I feel like it's different situation to situation, so it's
That's
hard to
true.
have like
of
a
what's going to get someone.
plan.
Yeah, what's going to get someone thinking is gonna be different. That is a good question.
I feel like I had to show Dylan that he's enough. Like he what he is enough. He doesn't need to get any more than what he is. And you don't have to keep showing people and like doing the things you don't want to do. What you are was clearly just enough. And I think he always had to reach for it and lie about it. And like he was never comfortable. So I said, Dylan, you're enough. Unconditional love. It's done. It's closed. Okay. Stop worrying about everything. And I think that's a hard concept still.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah.
Oh shit. So yeah. I don't know. Do you have any closing thoughts? Anything you wanted to put out there into the universe? So, okay. Well, I appreciate you all coming together and discussing all this stuff. I know we've been talking about this episode for a really long time.
I got so excited. I was like, wait, it's happening. Let's do it. Like, I'm so excited.
Yes, and it worked out great. It's a good
Yes.
cover for a surprise birthday party for Tyler.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, so between the recording of the little catch-ups that we did, we had a surprise birthday party for Tyler,
Yay.
and then now we're recording the partners episode. And I don't even know what technically episode this is of Finding Paradise, or what little catch-ups episode that was. I've lost track. I don't remember what number it is. So, and you'll find it when it's typed up and put
Titled and
Yeah.
all that.
Then you'll know.
Posted and official.
Yeah. So, but thank you for taking the time and driving here. And I know we should have drive a little ways, so I appreciate it.
Of course.
And I guess that's all. It's a wrap.
Yeah. What does Tyler say? We love you. We just love you.
Yes.
Happening.